Matt Stafford hurt at the moment, but still wants to play the rest of the year, continues to put up top 10, maybe even top 5 stats.
Yeah.
And you have had to live with him for a long, long time because he puts up those numbers, except that one column at the end over there that says wins and losses. It never seems to equate to his overall stats.
I think yes, this has been another sneaky year where the numbers were looking really, really good. And he also, the one thing that we had to look forward to, I can think of right now, is that we've got him and Marvin Jones Jr. and Kenny Golladay going through the next season. So I have that to look forward to. That doesn't translate to wins.
No, it does not.
necessarily. I am a little disillusioned. I was extremely excited, as a lot of people were, when Matt Patricia came. And now what's happening is the defense seems especially porous, as opposed to, I was looking for these really exotic schemes to be working to our advantage, and then now the issue, and God bless Jeff Driscoll. I mean, I think he's hanging in there as best he can.
He tries hard.
He's trying really hard.
Yeah.
But it's something, when I talk to friends at home and family, our issue always, it feels like it has been since Barry Sanders was on the field. I just spoke about a porous defense. Our issue is a porous offensive line. And I was really happy about the Ragnow pick at center a while back. He's a very mobile guy, but I don't know what the issue is. I really do. I'm mystified by it. I'm mystified.
Are you ready to part ways with Matthew Stafford and start a new era?
I am not.
Okay.
I am not. I think it's shoring up issues in other parts of the team. I can't speak as much to the coaching personnel. I wish I could, but I don't have that expertise as much. I don't understand the way you would, Shannon, all the nuances of X's and O's here and there. I understand what a pulling guard does, but I don't understand. I don't understand where and how one changes a culture. And we've seen this Belichick thing happen so many times, where someone leaves and then you end up with an average or a subpar team. So I love Mrs. Ford. We have a relationship. Matt's been wonderful, and I think that Mr. Quinn has done a really good job. But it's not gelling the way I was expecting it to. Yeah.
So let's talk about my team, the Dallas Cowboys. Do you see contenders or pretenders so far? 6-5, can't get over the hump.
Can't get over the hump.
Yep.
I am sorry to say, Skip, that I think it's welcome to pretender land population.
Told you.
Ooh.
I really do. It feels shaky.
They look shaky.
They look shaky, and it's interesting because I think they should be, if ever there was a ball-controlled team this season, they should be it. That I feel like when I watch them and I'm seeing Zeke, it feels like we should just be able to eat up clock and eat up clock and eat up clock, and it's not working the way I thought it would. What do you attribute that to?
We don't
Shannon's
have
like,
enough.
over here. What was that, Shannon?
QB.
My quarterback is putting up big numbers, but he's not making the play at the moment of the game. I will give you that. But I'm now going to switch gears because I did a little bit with you when you came out about code switching.
Yes.
My quarterback, Dak Prescott, is biracial. We've seen a whole lot of athletes come along in recent years biracial. Lots of stars, Derek Jeter, Jason Kidd, we can go on and on.
Wilson,
And here we are with you being biracial. My quarterback is the leader of and the spokesman for America's team. Help me out. Try to identify with him as he handles media and teammates. How do you think it puts him in different positions through the day to be this and then be that?
Oh yeah, no, I think that you have to be a maestro at code switching in both. There certainly is a cultural aspect, because there may be a certain way to act in the locker room, and there may be a certain way to act in the locker room at different times.
That is correct.
There's a way you present yourself when the media is present. There's a way you should present yourself, my understanding is, when it's just the boys.
Right.
And then a way to present yourself as a leader and a liaison between the coaching staff and the boys. Pardon the pun, the boys.
Right.
But so yes, I think that he is, sometimes you forget, or I shouldn't say you, sometimes I forget, and you'll get frustrated, and then you have to remember that these are young men. They're in their 20s. Some of these guys are in their early 20s. And it's funny when we speak about a veteran. A veteran is a person who is 7 to 8 years younger than me. And, a 40-year-old person is 8 years younger than me. And so I think you're right. I think that it's going to take some seasoning still for him to be that guy. Am I going to be able to be stalwart and almost stoic in front of the camera? Am I going to be able to be a fire plug in front of my players? And also, let's get even more granular. How am I speaking to the guys on my O-line? How am I talking to the backup quarterback? Is it my job already to still to try to coach him up? Then do I walk across the locker room and speak to the defensive guys? And how do I get them fired up? So because it's his job, and it is the QB's job, to make a cohesive unit, one huge unit that are just called the Cowboys. And it's not that he's lacking, it's just a matter of taking the time and allowing yourself to have that growth. Be where you are now and allow yourself to have that growth.
So in your career, did it give you an advantage to be biracial? Could you sort of go?
Yeah, it does give you an advantage. I think what happens is you get to become, a phrase that my partner Jordan Peele coined was, you get to be a racial referee. So at the end of the day, you've got your white family over here and your black family over here, and how you're responding and the way that you pronounce words.
Do you really talk, because people always ask, do you really talk different to different sets of family?
I do. And I felt like, it's funny, my wife who's white, my wife will walk down the street and she just goes, it's amazing. It's amazing. I see it. And my favorite thing is when I see an older African-American gentleman who who know it must be a fan, someone who was alive when Dick Gregory was a comedian.
Okay.
And he goes, hey man, I see y'all. I see y'all. I see what y'all doing. All right, man, keep it up now. And then certain people I'm with will be like, do you know him? I said, I know him here. I know him here. There is, sometimes what you're doing is you're putting other people at comfort. You're trying to put other people, you want to understand that you know where they're coming from.
Right.
And there is a linguistic component to that. People go, oh, you speak the way the people in my neighborhood speak.
Right.
I feel like you understand me. And I think that if you can do that, I try to do that on any show I am, is try to relate to members of the crew. Because if you let them know that they're important, and then they let you know that you're important, then everybody's there. It's like, I've got your back, I've got your back, I've got your back. And I think that works. Sometimes you speak differently and it's helpful. It's really, really helpful.
You brought up your partner, Jordan Peele, and I know you guys have risen in your own ways into your levels of achievement. I think you're both genius, but quick thought on what he has done in his own creative way.
Oh, yeah.
Get Out and Us, and Keanu that you both starred in. But how amazed are you at what he is doing?
It's interesting. I'm actually not that amazed. He has been, I've known him for 15, 16 years. And what's interesting is he's been a horror connoisseur since he was a child. And it's fascinating. His grandmother took him to a movie when he was a young man. His grandmother took me to see The Garbage Pail Kids. And they left the movie theater in Manhattan. He grew up in New York City. And his grandmother goes, now that was an awful movie. And I'm gonna explain to you why. She wanted him to understand why the movie was bad. And I think having that sense of understanding that you can critique something and you're allowed to critique something. And she was teaching him that there's a standard of filmmaking, even as a child. And that's something that stuck with him. I've heard him say it often in interviews. And, the different types of horror, comedy. He also feels that comedy and horror are very similar. It's based on the element of surprise. That we're expecting everything to go this way and that way. It's football, right? Gonna do the draw? Everything's going that way?
Kind of like the Cowboys. Oh, yeah, you expected to be good every time.
That was too easy.
I saw what you did there. I saw what you did there.
I didn't think that worked at all.
I saw what you did.
I didn't think that made any sense.
Skip's like, I didn't see him doing that.
He was on a roll and you completely derailed where he was heading.
I saw what he did there. He good.
Co-opted the joke.
Every day. We find a way on this show.
You code switched on me.
No, I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud of him. And the fact that he's making something important. It's interesting for him to do something in that genre. It's not making horror. It's making social horror.
Right.
Which is a small, tiny
Yes.
genre.
Yes.
You don't see that often.
Yes. Yes.
People Under the Stairs and maybe a Night of the Living Dead are the only two movies I can think of that were a filmmaker had purposed to make a social comment using that genre. And I really, if I may, there are people, all respect to George Romero. I don't know that anybody's done it better. Maybe as good, but no one has done it better than George.